America, you are one confusing motherfucker. I gotta tell you. I haven't made a video in a while, and I just felt compelled because I've been seeing shit, hearing shit, people talking shit about this whole NFL anthem protest, all that. I understand that it is the right of every American to have the freedom of speech. It's their right to peaceably assemble. I understand the amendments. I carry a copy of the Constitution in my travels across this country. I've read the son of a bitch, top to bottom, all the amendments, the whole nine. I get it. Because I'm sure some dickhead's going to watch this, just he's got nothing better to do, say, oh, well, you're in the military, blah, 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 you should know. Yeah, I was in the military. I defended that right. And I actually agree with portions of why they're doing it, and I agree with the fact that they have the right to do it. I also agree that I have the right not to support the NFL, not to watch their games, buy their merchandise, period. What I don't agree with, and this is just my personal opinion, as is anything that comes out of my mouth, is the endorsement received by the commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell. These players are employees of the owners of the teams, be they the New York Jets, San Francisco 49ers, Los Angeles Chargers, Washington Redskins, Dallas Cowboys. They are the employees. They do not have the right, while on the clock, in that team uniform, on that team's property, to do it in that forum. If they do, they can be fired for cause. Call it dereliction of their duties. Call it, whatever they want to call it. Conduct detrimental to the team. This is a free country. Now, here's the problem that I have with what's being said. And I deleted my Facebook a couple of weeks ago, but before I did, saw a lot of the posts that were going on about, wife beaters and drunk drivers and drug users and murderers don't bother you, but you draw the line at kneeling for the anthem? Okay, valid argument. I didn't stop watching football after Ben Roethlisberger was accused of rape twice, and it probably would have been a third accusation if he hadn't put a ring on her finger. I didn't stop watching football after the video of Ray Rice punching Janae in the face was released. Of course, he hasn't come back to the NFL. I didn't stop watching the NFL when Adrian Peterson beat his kid so bad that he had to be arrested. I didn't stop watching it when Josh Brennan of the Dallas Cowboys got drunk, drove, killed his buddy, who also played for the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't stop watching when Pac-Man Jones bounced that stripper's head off of the stage because she picked up a dollar bill that he gave her sooner than he wanted her to. Because after all, in the NFL, since you make millions, you control strippers' behavior. I didn't stop watching after OJ chopped his wife's head off. I didn't stop watching, after any of that. I stopped watching after they knelt for the anthem. And, I have to say I'm not a murderer. I'm not a drunk driver. I'm not a drug user. I'm not a spouse abuser. I don't believe in putting your hands on, a woman in a violent manner. I don't believe you put your hands on your children in a violent manner or put your hands on another human being in a violent manner except to defend yourself. So those instances of these shitbags doing this didn't hit home for me because I'm not that type of person. The national anthem did hit home for me. I served in the military. I have good friends who were killed in combat and training accidents, either training to defend this nation and those rights that you guys, take for granted every day, or killed in combat, fighting. Protecting and defending the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, bearing true faith and allegiance to the same, obeying the orders of the officers appointed over them and the President of the United States of America, so help them God. The anniversary of the death of one of them, tattooed right here on my chest, is coming up in 12 days. It'll have been 11 years. Just past 11 years for another buddy of mine. So yeah, it hits home. Yeah, I take it personal. Yes, it's disrespectful to me and to many of my comrades. But let's break this down for a second. Why are they kneeling? Well, Colin Kaepernick starts dating this chick, and she goes on about how Francis Scott Key was a racist. And he wrote an anthem. He's not protesting anything except stanzas that nobody probably even knew existed, nor are they sung at any sporting event. He's protesting, taking a knee, because she told him to. Then he claims it's because of the injustices visited upon minorities in this country. Well, let's break that down. By the cops. In Chicago each year, minorities are killed by minorities at a faster rate, higher rate, than they are by police. People say, well, it doesn't matter if he's a criminal, he shouldn't shoot. Let me tell you something. The media, the news, it's all fake. MSNBC, CNBC, Fox, CNN, C-SPAN, C-SPAN 2, HLN, ABC, DEF, LMNOP. That whole alphabet soup group is full of fucking shit. They're all run by just a couple of media groups. I mean, CNN, the Clinton News Network, was owned by Ted Turner for the longest time. I don't know if he still owns it. But a lot of these, it's the same thing. And they all swing very far left. They're going to put whatever spin they can to get whatever ratings they can because America soaks up the negativity. And then they regurgitate the bullshit they've been fed. Garbage in, garbage out. It's just like attitudes of the individual citizens. So, of course, Colin Kaepernick, that was a lot of ratings, boy. But then it started to filter down into the other teams. So they were protesting police brutality by kneeling for the national anthem. Okay. That's your right to do so. It's also, again, my right not to watch. But then it switched from protesting the national anthem, the verbiage of the national anthem, the man, Francis Scott Key, who wrote it during the War of 1812, while a prisoner aboard a ship at the Inner Harbor in Baltimore, while American military forces drove out an invading enemy. Our flag stood strong. Our men drove them out. But they wanted to protest the anthem. Then it moved on to police brutality. Well, now, of course, Donald Trump is elected president, and everybody's calling him a misogynist, and everybody's calling him a racist, and they're coming up with all these fucking stories about this dude being basically the Antichrist. Well, newsflash. He's the most racist person ever given an award for diversity by Jesse Jackson I've ever heard of. As a misogynist, he's employed more women CEOs and, higher ups, presidents of companies and things of that nature than any other president ever elected. He pissed off the establishment. He upset it. Both sides of the bird got their wings clipped by him, and they're mad. So they'll tell you anything they can, and they'll only air clips of certain things. The man's not very well spoken. He shoots from the hip. He speaks from the heart. Personally, I like that about the guy. But it's really kind of funny because the same liberals, back to the NFL point, that were saying, oh, the murderers don't bother you and this and that. So they're shunning the NFL players. They stopped watching the NFL after murderers and rapists and DUIs and drug use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They basically called the NFL sons of bitches through their protests because they don't believe in those things. The president comes out and says, these sons of bitches are disrespecting the country. And all of a sudden, those same liberals are in an uproar about a sport they don't give a fuck about because it has to do with Trump. Make up your fucking mind. Either you care or you don't care. Don't care because somebody decided to lash out at the president. And then you've got two head coaches, Detroit Lions coach Jim Caldwell and Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin. Hey, sons of bitches in the NFL. Really, that's kind of funny. Because I'm pretty sure OJ chopped his wife's head off after years of physical abuse when he was in the NFL. Chris Henry used to beat his girlfriend up on a regular. Ended up getting him killed after a domestic one night. Ray Caruth murdered his girlfriend. Ray Lewis charged and convicted of obstruction of justice after a murder in a nightclub in Atlanta at a Super Bowl party. Ben Roethlisberger, two accusations of rape. Again, would have been a third if he hadn't put a ring on her finger. Ray Rice, Adrian Peterson, all of these different guys, Josh Brent. Yes, there are sons of bitches in the NFL. I'll go a step further and say that a lot of these guys are bastards too, because they don't have a father figure at home to teach them how to act right or whip their ass when they didn't act right. But because a lot of the people that play in professional sports happen to be black, I'm assuming that I'm going to be accused of being racist simply because I just called them bastards and sons of bitches. It's not the fucking president's fault these dickheads are kneeling. They were doing it before he was elected. They were doing it under Obama. People were disgusted but were afraid to speak out against it because Obama was president and it was the touchy-feely, happy-go-lucky time in our country. Or so we thought. Racism was at an all-time high. Economy was going down the shitter. And all because this dude wants to pay off terrorists and whatnot. Well, he's not the president anymore. And America has somewhat of a new identity. He fucked up so bad, America elected a guy who's not even a politician as president. A guy who came off the street and won their nomination and upset the murdering bitch, Hillary Clinton, who, let's face facts, liberals are pissed off because she won. They say Trump's a misogynist, and look at who she's married to. Bill Clinton? He is the biggest misogynist to have ever been elected to the highest office in the land. He's a rapist, and she defended it. There is a reason that her Secret Service security detail refers to her as Broomstick One. She's an unbearable bitch who has probably, well, actually on more than one occasion, committed acts of treason against this country, who belongs in prison, or better yet, hung. They could string her right up next to Jodi Arias, but oh wait, they're women. We can't hang them. Despite how, no matter how heinous their crimes were. You liberals, I really got to hand it to you, boy. You motherfuckers can muddy the water like nobody I've ever known. You basically pitch Trump as the Antichrist. Everything's his fault. At this point, the man could cure cancer, and you people would say that he created cancer just so that he could cure it and profit from it. I mean, that's just how fucking stupid you really are. And don't get it twisted. You conservative fucktards, you're ultra conservative. Now, I'm not talking about you middle of the road liberals who are conservative about some things and liberal about others. And I'm not talking about you middle of the road conservatives who are conservative about some things and liberal about others. I'm talking about you far left, far right morons. Fucking idiots. People lauding Trump as a second coming of Christ. People who are basically touting this man the same way the liberals touted Obama as being the greatest president in history. Well, neither one of those two motherfuckers are in the top 43. Neither one. I take that back. They're both probably better than Carter, at least on the economical side of things. But neither one of them is going to go down as even the top 20 greatest presidents in U.S. history. Period. So stop. Between the two of you factions, you're making the book of Revelation and the Bible sound a hell of a lot more believable. It's fucking ridiculous. And then we go on to these things like, the Vegas shootings and these terror attacks. And that's what they are. They're terrorist attacks. Domestic terrorists is still terrorism. Just like people use the phrase reverse racism, which is the dumbest fucking thing ever. Racism is racism, just like terrorism is terrorism. Doesn't matter if it's domestic. It doesn't matter if it's brought from overseas. And it doesn't matter in the racism side if it's white against black, black against white, white and black against Mexican, Mexican against black and white, everybody against the Jewish faith, all that shit. Doesn't matter. Racism's racism, terrorism's terrorism. But don't think for 1 second that Vegas shooting probably wasn't perpetuated by either one or both factions of our government, i.e. conservatives and liberals. Number one, there was more than one shooter. I'm seeing multiple flashes from multiple windows at the same fucking time. Either that dude's got the longest wingspan of any fucking man born on this planet, or there was more than one shooter. And not only that, if he was on the 18th floor, how the fuck are the flashes coming from around the 10th? They're saying, multiple calibers, this, that, and the third. Guns are strewn everywhere and ammunition. Nobody who is a gun enthusiast who plans something like that's just going to haphazardly throw the weapons around. It's not effective for what you want to do. It's just not going to happen. The Vegas shooting, somebody made some money off that. And I'm in Nevada right now. And I'm about to head to Vegas tomorrow. And I'll tell you, Mandalay Bay, there is a whole host of shit that went down with the cops there, being told not to go in by their dispatch, people getting it on video, audio, and now these people are magically dying. Kind of the same way people died when they had dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, am I saying she's behind it? Absolutely not. But nobody's going to convince me that behind closed doors somewhere, our government didn't have at least something to do with that. And it's unfortunate. But you guys keep believing your alphabet soup mainstream media liberal shitbags. It's all about the guns. We don't blame a car when a DUI kills someone. We don't blame beer when a DUI kills someone. We blame the drunk driver. We shouldn't blame the weapons for the murders. You blame the person behind the weapon, the bad heart, the intent. But there's no talking sense to some fucking people. You know, the news, there's just another one, man. You guys are just gullible. You know, you guys will about believe anything. So I got some oceanfront property right there in Arizona. I'd love to sell you stupid fucks. The fucking news. There was a news story that came down the pipe on, you know, one of those online media outlets. It said there was going to be an EMP released on November 4th, today, 2017. That was going to last 2 days to test our ability to rebound. That's not possible, folks. An EMP is released, it shuts down everything. 2 days is all it's going to take to recover from that? Don't fucking think so. And motherfuckers were scared because they just don't know how to survive. You take away a kid's cell phone and hand them a book and they look at you like you got a dick growing out of your forehead. You're a penis corn. Because they're not taught shit anymore. Parents don't read to their kids. Kids, you know, reading comprehension is for shit. They got the phones. They know how to text. LOL, OMG. Our language is devolving and our people are becoming dumber. And we are accepting less than what we are worth as a human race, as a country. We are allowing this shit to go down. And all because we don't want to offend nobody. Everything nowadays is fucking offensive. You know? This person's persecuted. That person's persecuted. And they're all persecuted. Why? Because somebody said the word faggot? Bitch? Fuck? I mean, people, words are words. Ever heard the phrase, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me? If it doesn't apply to you, let it roll off your back. Like water off a duck's back. Your Confederate flag offends me. Yeah, well, your lack of spine offends me. But I'm not setting you on fire. Wake up, America. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's not even just the millennials anymore. It's everybody. Nobody can seem to think for themselves, and nobody can seem to get their head out of their ass or out of their phone or out of their TV or out of their work long enough to take a look around and realize shit's fucked up. I travel all 50 states of this country. From Alaska to Florida, Hawaii to Maine, and everything in between. I have seen some of the most liberal, shitbag, rundown, fucked up cities like Detroit, Minneapolis, and Pontiac, Michigan. And I've seen some of the more beautiful places. Ivins, Utah, Mesquite, Nevada, East Coventry, Rhode Island. And yes, I said that those other three places, Pontiac, Detroit, Minneapolis, were liberal because they are, and those cities are run the fuck down. I've also seen some of the worst on the conservative rundown shitbag places like Vidor, Texas, and other points south. And at the end of the day, it ain't going to get any better until we, the people, stop buying into the government's bullshit, stop watching the mainstream news media and shit, pick up a fucking newspaper and start reading it, an independent one. Start researching shit for yourself. The kneeling for the anthem is just something. They're not doing it for any reason. They're not doing it for, civil rights and all that kind of shit. Because if they were, they wouldn't just kneel during an anthem. I mean, they're not doing anything. They would go out and organize a march the way Dr. King did it back in the 60s during the actual civil rights movement. They're not doing anything. They're taking a knee, sitting down on the job, which last time I checked was pretty derelict. And it's not Trump's fault they're doing it. It's not the cops' fault. They're just a bunch of shitbag, whiny baby, cry-ass, fucking pansy millionaire punks who honestly can't even entertain y'all that well. Because after all, hard hits in the NFL are now offensive. It's disgusting. It's sickening. And, you know, if any of you liberal fucks that, you know, commented on my shit about being so offensive and generalizing this and that, yeah, I'm generalizing them. Go ahead, generalize me. I was called a dumb hick. I've been called a redneck. I've been called all kinds of shit. And I don't give a fuck. That's the difference between you and me. What you say to me, good or bad, really doesn't affect my day at all. I do appreciate the good comments. I do appreciate the fact that there are younger, especially people out there who are, you know, of some of the same thinking. One guy left a comment, and I am going to touch on that before I stop this video, about going out and killing Jews and Muslims and niggers, and that's how he worded it. To you, sir, you're an asshole. Okay? I don't condone any kind of racism. I don't condone any kind of fucking speech like that. It's your right to say it. It's also your right to be a fucking moron. I think you're abusing the privilege, though. But you're probably the reason we need warnings on shit like bleach. I don't condone that shit. So if you guys are going to comment on something and you want to attack me or be sarcastic, man, hey, so be it. But keep that kind of language in your own fucking head.